Hello, this is your Unit 4 test remediation. We're going to go over the most missed questions from your Unit 4 test, authors, tools, and techniques. So our first most missed question had to do with The Tiger by William Blake, and it was actually question number 1. So if we take a look at the question, it's saying, the archetypal image of fire is used frequently in this poem. The archetype represents power. Which statement best explains how this archetype creates meaning in the poem? So we really need to focus on that concept of fire and that it's representing power. So we already have the answer for what that symbolic archetype is. So which statement is best explaining how it creates meaning? A, the archetype develops the idea that power is both dangerous and violent and should be feared. So we have to go back and see what that fire really says in the poem. B, the image of fire reinforces the idea that power is beautiful and enticing. So now we have to decide, is it that the power is dangerous and violent and should be feared? Is it beautiful and enticing? Or the last one, by uniting the image of the tiger with that of the fire, Blake shows readers that powerful beings should not be feared but should be celebrated. So you have to decide which one of those the poem is really conveying. Let's take a look. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? It really has to do with the fact that what kind of figure or person or entity could have created the tiger. Now I know it's spelled differently, but it's meaning a tiger, the animal. In what distant deeps or skies burnt the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare he aspire? What the hand dare seize the fire? Okay, so very deep there if we think about the tiger itself as an animal and a predator for sure, very dangerous. So there's that repetition of fire, burnt the fire in thine eyes, what the hand dare seize the fire, and lots of questions. And what should shudder and what shoulder and what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? And when thy heart began to beat, what dread hand and what dread feet? And again, the creation of the tiger, word choices like dread. It's definitely not showing celebration yet, if at all. Beauty and enticing, I don't know, just these word choices don't really share that. But continuing on, what the hammer, what the chain, in what furnace was thy brain? Furnace, very similar to fire, right? The heat. What the anvil, what dread grasp, repetition of dread again, dare its deadly terrors clasp. Okay, we're going with deadly terrors, definitely not beautiful and enticing. And there's not much celebration here. So I'm just continuing on to reinforce that the answer is probably A. This archetype develops the idea that power is both dangerous and violent and should be feared, right? When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile? His work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry? So definitely this concept of fear developed by that archetypal image of fire. Okay. All right, our next most missed questions came from I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud, and that was our second reading passage, questions 6 and 8, and I believe 9's on the next slide. So 6 is asking, how does the meaning of this last stanza relate to the meaning of the whole poem? And the last stanza is actually below number 8 here. So if we look at that, let's read our options first. It tells readers that the speaker loves to be around happy people. It connects the spirit of the speaker with that of the daffodils, or it describes a new scene in a natural setting. So if we take a look at our options and then we read, for oft when on my couch I lie in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. And so it seems like in this moment, and if you go back and make sure you read the whole poem and understand the concept, it's really this reflection of nature's beauty. And this moment is very picturesque. So we've got the daffodils dancing, fluttering in the breeze. We have the stars twinkling on the Milky Way. So lots of natural imagery, right? And then again, coming back to those daffodils at the end. So what is that last stanza meaning? It's not really about being around happy people. There's not mention of lots of happy people in this at all. So we could eliminate that. Connecting the spirit of the speaker with that of the daffodils is our answer. C, it describes a new scene in a natural setting, is not connecting to the concept of the meaning of the whole poem. This is really just that moment of a memory. Like for oft when on my couch I lie in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye. That's just a memory coming back to him or the speaker, right? So the best, or your answer is going to be B for number 6. Question 8, how does the rhyme pattern in each stanza relate to the rhyme pattern in the whole poem? So here, whenever we are determining the rhyme scheme of a poem, we're looking at the end rhyme. So cloud, hills, crowd, daffodils. Hills and daffodils will rhyme. Cloud and crowd will rhyme. And then we have trees and breeze. So this kind of creates an A, B, C, C rhyme pattern. And it's not important that you have that pattern memorized, but just see if it repeats itself or not, because that's our options. Does it repeat itself in every stanza? Is it different, or does it alternate? So if we have that A, B, C, C, let's take a look. Shine, weigh, line, bay, glance, and dance. Absolutely, because shine and line, weigh and bay, glance and dance, and that gives us that pattern again. They, glee, gay, company, thought, brought. They, gay, glee, company, thought, brought. Absolutely. So the repetition in every stanza helps to create that sound. So your answer is A. And then we also had question 9 from that poem. Which lines from the poem best shape the theme that the memory of something beautiful can bring lasting joy? If we look at our options, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. They flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. So we're looking at the memory of something beautiful can bring lasting joy. So which one is lasting joy? This first one, when I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, we're not looking at really necessarily a memory here. This is kind of in the moment. And then this is also in the moment. As I was looking, I didn't realize that the show itself, the image itself would be kind of like wealth, to my eyes. But this one, they flashed upon that inward eye. That's really about the memory, right? Thinking back. So C is your answer for number 9. And then our last question, 17, is coming from our poem that was focused on, Fern Hill. And I didn't copy the whole thing down, but if we take a look at the lines that 17 is asking about, and then the question says, how do these lines reflect the theme that it is foolish to think the carefree days of youth can last? So really focusing on the word choice, it's foolish to think that these days can last. They describe the speaker as being the master of his own childhood and happiness. They detail the aspects of childhood the speaker enjoyed day after day, or they explain how unaware the speaker is that the innocence of child is fleeting. And even without all this information, I think you should be able to do process of elimination, because when it says it's foolish to think the carefree days of youth can last, it's really connecting to this one here, C. How unaware the speaker is of that innocence of childhood is fleeting. Fleeting, can't last. So connecting those options, or connecting the words in your option here. But if we are looking at the lines themselves, and honored among the fox and pheasants by the gay house, under the new-made clouds and happy as the heart was long, in the sun born over and over, I ran my heedless ways. And heedless is a word choice that should let you know this has to do with the fact that he's carefree as a child. But this concept doesn't last forever, right? So it's fleeting. So 17 is C. All right, and that wraps up our most missed questions.